Stick to my phone for now on. Welcome to Bulls 101. We got a little new intro. We're just trying some stuff out here. We thought that was fun. I got my man Laro Golden with me. What's up?
Taking an L from the team tonight on the video, I see.
Ah, man. Yeah, I have to, man. I got to hold this L tonight, man.
Man, stuff happens. So, but glad to have you here. Glad to be back. You guys like the intro? Daniel likes it. Salim liked it. Games report. Let's go. Okay, all right. I like the music. The guy has that stone cold killer look. You know,
yeah,
stuck in that ball. So, yeah, the Laro's having some technical difficulties with his camera tonight, which is really unfortunate. That's the only reason we really are here.
Oh, come on,
is to look at your beautiful face. But you know, just like this L, we're gonna have to take our L tonight. Oh, we got a great show. Tonight. We got our friend Marcus Couch. He is one of the original podcasters, not just Bulls podcasters way back in 2004. So we got him on tonight. He's got his Bulls podcast coming back this week, and we're going to break down the Spurs loss and talk about how all the new guys are going to be integrated into Billy Donovan's system. So welcome in, Marcus Couch. How you doing, bud?
Hey, I'm great. It's great to join you guys. I'm a big fan of the show. I was really digging last week with Ryan Borgia and all the cap talk and all the stuff that we got coming up. And boy, how quickly a week changes. Look at what we've got as far as a new lineup and new everything. So even new intro. Look at you guys.
And you just throw out the old cap stuff. It doesn't even make any sense anymore.
That's right.
Not even worth reason.
That's right.
Exactly. So I want to get into it real quick as far as your background. You and I actually live very, very close to each other in Southern California.
Yeah.
But you are not originally from Southern California.
I'm not. No, I was a Chicago guy, true and true. Started watching the Bulls early. As soon as they started broadcasting them on TV, I think it was like on channel 66 or something. No NBA presence whatsoever in Chicago. Pre-Jordan, I think I was in junior high, but followed the whole team, the whole like 40-win seasons, 50-win seasons before they finally put it over the edge. Was working actually in the bars as a doorman during the Jordan Rodman days, you know, where and I was also doing a lot of entertainment stuff at the time. So it was funny because back then the bands that were playing at different gigs had to wait till the Bulls game was over till they started playing. That's how like much of a draw the Bulls were back then. And it's always intriguing to see if that era will ever come back in terms of Bulls success. But maybe this is the first step of that we're seeing, at least in terms of this lineup that we saw tonight.
Oh yeah. I just want to say, you know, I'm happy to have you on, man, and I'm
Thank
sure
you.
Chris is. This is going to be a great opportunity for me to learn from you as well about, you know, your knowledge of the game, man, and hoping we can all together just go back and forth about like what we're seeing about the Bulls and a little bit of the tape that we have today. Just talk and chat it up, man. You know,
I appreciate it. Well, let's send it, man. Let's do it.
Yeah.
If you guys don't know, and I know Daniel in the comments mentioned this, but Marcus runs the Bulls podcast. It's bullspodcast.com. He has some of the best intros. You ever heard Ray Clay? You got Ray Clay to do an intro for it, didn't you? How did that come about?
I asked him. I hooked up with him on Twitter and sent him a DM and asked him if he would do it, and he said yes. So that's it. You just got to ask.
That's pretty amazing. Now, one of your last episodes, you didn't start you started podcasting in 2004, right?
Yeah, I did. Mm-hmm.
But obviously, you weren't podcasting about the Bulls until more recently.
No, so I did a music show because I was involved in entertainment at the time. In fact, I was kind of doing podcasting, but on CD form, and that's what got me into discovering the technology that eventually became podcasting. Was I was really trying to find a better way to distribute these music CDs, and so I did a music show right when podcasting started, and I got really lucky because they rebroadcast it on Sirius satellite radio. Just straight from the podcast and rebroadcast it, which was great. And I got sponsorship really early. And this was like even pre-YouTube days, so it was really intriguing to have user generated content. Then I got into doing tech and then sort of political stuff. And then I had enough, and I just really wanted to do the things that I really loved and had a passion for. And the Bulls is obviously one of them. Even though I live in Southern California, I'm still rocking my Bulls gear everywhere I go.
I'm sure I've probably seen you without even knowing it.
Now, I'll tell you one funny thing, too. I do own, bullspodcast.com is the domain name for my show. But I also own lakerspodcast.com. And I always have threatened, and I threatened Big Dave and C-Dub on Ball on Bulls, that I was going to start Lakers podcast, but only come up with trade scenarios to get rid of LeBron every episode, just to drive everybody nuts.
You should do it.
Maybe April 1st. Maybe I'll pull the trigger on that. Who knows?
That would be amazing. That would be amazing.
You
guys should check that out. You guys should check out your podcast. Is coming out on Monday. You're starting it up again.
That's right.
That's going to be a lot of fun. So what made you think about starting it up again? Sorry, Larry, I interrupted you as well.
No,
that would be AK making some moves. Yeah. I'm like, okay, I'm in. I've never seen an all-star get dealt at the trade deadline where I think that it's going to make such an impact is what Vuce is going to make on this team. And I want back in. Hell, I was here for Jabari Parker and all the rest of the stuff that went on. So, why not jump back in the wagon?
Yeah, man. And to go back on a little bit of, you say you wear your Bulls and, stuff everywhere. I remember when I moved to Boston, what was this, 2013, I believe. Yeah, because it's when the Hawks won the cup. And I used to, wear my Bulls, my Blackhawks, my Bears stuff, walking around the city. And I don't know if you've ever been to Boston, but, literally right outside Fenway, there's a Popeyes right there.
Mm-hmm.
And I got hungry after the game one day, but I had my Bull stuff on, and I walk in and there's this older guy, man. He literally had Boston Celtics jacket, Bruins chain and hat, Patriots jacket under it. He had every team you can think of, right? And
he was branded.
Yeah, man. And I literally had just had my Bull stuff on, and not dripped out, not a bunch of stuff. And I'm ordering my chicken, and he comes over to me. I'm thinking I don't know. I don't know what he's gonna say. He walks over to me and he's like, "Hey, man." I said, "How you doing, man?" He said, "You're in the wrong locker room." I was like, "What?" He was like, "You're in the wrong locker room, okay?" And he literally tried to chase me out of the Popeyes, man. It was just it's a totally different thing. But right on what you're saying, though, I don't care. I rock my stuff everywhere I go, man. This is what I am, man. Can't drop it.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, some crazy stuff happens in Popeyes lines. I don't know what it is about Popeyes chicken, but people are out here acting crazy in Popeyes lines.
Oh, man, you guys are crazy. But man, but tonight, man, what are our thoughts before we even get into any tape? What are we thinking about tonight, man? What do we think?
They didn't even have a practice yet.
Yeah.
Right. It's like throwing me and you out there. It's like, well, maybe a little different, but so I see Vooch and I look at him as he's a really great screener.
Mm-hmm.
And our guys aren't used to that. They're not moving around it very well.
Mm-hmm.
Vooch is a pretty good passer too. And he passes in the open space where guys are not there yet.
Yes.
And our guys are not ready for that yet. Kobe White obviously doesn't know how to play with a good big man yet. because there were multiple opportunities tonight where he could have just dished it right off and that thing was done. But he's gun shy for some reason. Lowry is deer in a headlight. Lowry is uncomfortable as the kid, at the first day of school. He doesn't know where to go. He doesn't know how to act. He's just looking for a rug to take a nap. I don't know what he's doing. I don't.
It was a lot of disjointed play. I thought tonight. You're right. They haven't had a practice. They're incorporating at least 4 new guys today, and incorporating someone into the center spot, and especially a center who is very, very different than Wendell and even Thad. I mean, Thad is a little bit more similar to Vuce in some of that, high post passing, but Vuce can shoot it from the 3, especially above the break. He's got that passing vision, as you said, and he does those anticipatory passes, right? He passes where he wants you to move,
right?
And a lot of that playmaking we haven't had a ton of that this year. So I said this on Twitter. I expected the disjointedness, right? I expected the fact that as soon as they said they were starting Lowry next to Vuce, I said, all right, well, it's going to be just a red carpet to the rim because they don't know what they're doing yet together. They don't have any chemistry, and neither of them are defensive stalwarts. Wendell Carter and Thad were much better at that and had played all year in that role. So I expected it to be like that, but you just wanted to see some flashes, right, here and there, and I think we did.
Even so, Vuce still got 21 and shot 50% from 3.
Yeah.
Yep.
On a disjointed team that doesn't know how to work with him yet.
He's an all-star.
It's so crazy because even through that game, you see the score, and you can, if you're not really thinking long term, you can get caught into that tunnel of like, oh my God, we're back to the same old thing. We can't beat the Spurs. Lowry suck. Oh, Kobe suck. You could go back down that road. But if you really peel back and you think about it, some of the bright spots are we have a guy in Vuce, like you said, Marcus, guys are not used to him yet. They're not used to having a guy that you can say, okay, they're on a run right now. Let's slow it up. Let's dump that ball off into Vuce. He's not a big man where he's a black hole. You're not going to get the ball out. He's going to make the right. And before I say this, I don't want anybody to think that I think he's Jokic. I don't think
I knew you were going
Jokic,
this way.
Okay. But he is a guy that you can throw the ball to and he can facilitate from that post area.
Mm-hmm.
He can help this team so much, especially when these teams like the Spurs going on this run, they're up and down, they're penetrating, they're getting to the rim, they're getting on fast break. Slow the game down. You got a big, throw the ball down there, interchange on the weak side. Let's get a cut down the middle, or just let him work and he'll make the right play every single time. Slow the game down. And like you said, guys, it's going to take some time. And in terms, hopefully it isn't long. Hopefully it isn't they need weeks because we don't have that amount of time. But Lowry, and I'm not going to beat on Lowry because again, like everyone else, you can't just throw an all-star big like that and then just automatically, just pick right up where you left off. It's everybody has to get used to it. I know there was a play where Kobe was on the run. I think we were down to single digits in the fourth. He went off the screen. And Kobe drives into Jakob Poeltl's chest. He's got Jakob Poeltl he's jumping into, and he's got I believe that was Derek White, and Vuce is wide open at the top of the key. Vuce is wide open at the top
Freudian.
of the key.
At _Laro Hoops. This is the guy that says Vuce is Jokic.
Man, they have look. Like I said, he's not Jokic, but they do some of the similar things, in terms of facilitating.
Does he have to be with Zach LaVine? Does he have to be? They just have to elevate it just a little bit more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what. I'm optimistic. I'm cool with everything that happened tonight. I don't care. It's a loss. Look, the guys aren't even there. What's his name? Thies isn't even with the team yet. He's going to meet him in for the Golden State game. That's good. And then the other guys looked pretty decent.
Mm-hmm.
Troy Brown Jr.
Yeah.
If I'm Denzel Washington, I'm I don't know what I'm doing, but
Also Denzel Valentine.
Or Valentine. What am I
I do
doing?
this all the time.
I did this again. I did this again. I used to do this on my show all the time. Denzel Valentine.
Denzel Washington.
I was thinking of Washington. I was thinking of the trade that we did, but
we did with Washington. Exactly.
So yeah, and I think also I think also that Zach is still bothered by that ankle. And
yeah, definitely.
You know, because he wasn't really
earlier. He's
yeah.
not
So
100%.
what did Zach do today? He did 18 points, 28 minutes. Okay.
But you could tell just by looking at him, he was. I mean, Zach LaVine is one of the most explosive athletes in the NBA.
Yeah,
the man is incredible. Today he looked pedestrian athletically.
Yeah. 3 rebounds, 1 assist.
Yeah, he wasn't up to his usual standard. And I guess he said in the post-game comments tonight, he's like, hey, I'm going to play even if I'm not 100%, as long as I'm not actively hurting the team, which, hey, Zach at 50% is still probably one of our best players. So True. I understand that, but you got to take it into perspective, right? So everything, as you said, Marcus, with everything that we saw tonight, we saw some flashes, not too worried about the disjointedness, especially with Zach's injury, but I really like Troy Brown Jr. He came in immediately, he splashed a 3. He had some really nice passes. We were told, and Lara and I discussed this right after the trade happened, that he's got some underrated passing chops. I think that Billy could really use him in that way. Washington had kind of just put him in the corner and just said be a 3-and-D wing, which isn't necessarily his forte. Now, I think he can get there at some point, but he actually has some facilitating chops that I think Billy can take advantage of. And you saw it on display. He had 3 or 4 assists tonight in very short minutes, very few minutes. So
I agree with you guys.
Vince is out here trolling you, Marcus. He says, if I'm Denzel Washington, I'm wondering what I'm on the court for. Hey, you could get Denzel to play Denzel in the upcoming film about the 2021 Bulls, because I'm sure it'll be a movie everyone will want to watch one day.
Did you guys hear Denzel Valentine's album, by the way?
I did not listen to it. I heard, oh, man.
Was it worth it?
No.
There you go.
No.
Well, at least you gave it a shot. I haven't listened to it.
Much like his shot, a little outdated,
right?
In terms of his album content, yes.
Well, hey, I'm just glad that I didn't do it because I accidentally. I don't know if you guys know who Cole Beasley is. He's a wide receiver for the Bills. I accidentally listened to one of his EPs, and it's the worst thing I've ever done.
Don't they make enough money? You got to really do that.
Yeah, it was.
It's like sponsorship has dried up that much. You gotta just...
everyone's got their passion.
You can't get a promo code. What? You can't get. Come on, get on Cameo at least. Do something.
Oh my god. Oh man. But yeah, man. One other point I wanted to touch off on the Vooch and Zach thing is I wasn't able to get the play, but it was in the first quarter, and they were running a middle pick and roll with him and Vooch, and he came off the screen. He gave the ball to Vooch, and I feel like there was a point where Zach is just so used to having a big that can't do certain things as Vooch, and he kind of just stood in his way, like looking to get the ball back. And it was like, that was a point where you can tell like they got to get used to playing with each other because Zach will probably back cut or go do something rather than stand in Vooch's way and letting him see the whole floor. I just saw that tonight, and then on top of that, with Lowry being in the lineup, not having any rim protection there, that was to be expected. So
I want to harken back real quick to one game last year, and Boylan was still the coach, obviously. And Kobe had like a breakout game with Zach, and you could they did the highlight, and Zach says to Kobe, "It's you and me. It's you and me." And I think Zach and Vooch need that moment in a game where they're just gonna maybe they're down, and they just take over, and that's what's gonna turn the page for the Bulls.
Yeah.
There was a play I saw tonight, Larry. You mentioned that one earlier. There was one, I think it was a little later in the game. It might have been late second quarter, early third, that they ran a pick and roll just above the break, kind of on the right side of the court. And this time, he dumped it off to Vuce, and 2 came to him, and Zach had all day to shoot a 3.
Mm-hmm.
He drew he drew all the defenders, and that's the little spark that you want to see. It's like, okay, you can't double one or the other, you're in trouble. And I think that pick and pop, that pick and roll combination is going to be really, really good. And I think it's going to be the staple of their offense going forward, as it should be.
Yes.
You got 2 all-stars who can really play well together, I think, once they get a little bit more acclimated.
Oh, yeah.
I think the biggest beneficiary of Vuce coming to the team is not Zach LaVine.
Mm-hmm.
It's Patrick Williams.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, because he's gonna have driving lanes or cutting. He's gonna be able to cut all day long.
Because that's whomever is guarding Patrick Williams is generally going to be the person that's going to try and double Vuce.
Yep.
Right. Mm-hmm. And slide over. So that's going to leave Williams wide open.
Oh, yeah.
He better practice that 3, man. That's all I'm saying, because he's going to have a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's shooting a pretty good percentage for a rookie as well. So I mean, I think what is he, league average? I mean, he's almost league average everywhere on the floor. So I mean,
he started pretty hot too. I mean, the form looks good. He's got a kind of that high rainbow push shot, right? But I think it's better. It's further along than I thought. Back to Pat. Vincent says, I think one of the I don't want to say detriments, but one of the outcomes here of not trading Lowry, which I think they were trying to do at the deadline, is that Patrick Williams is now going to be playing most of his minutes at the 3. We saw him in plenty of minutes at the 4 when Lowry was out this season, and I thought he looked pretty good. And I know a lot of people have said that power forward is probably the best fit for him position-wide going forward. So I think it's going to be a little bit awkward for Pat in the next couple of months until they make a decision. I don't see them bringing Lowry back because they really, really need a point guard, and they've only got about $20 million, and that's probably what Spencer Dinwiddie or Alonzo Ball, or if they trade for like Malcolm Brogdon, those guys all make in that realm. So I really don't think that they're going to bring him back after this season. And Pat really needs to move to the 4. I think ultimately for he and Vuce next to each other are a great front court pairing, I think, because Pat brings a little bit of that rim protection, that athleticism. I don't know. I see a lot of fun with that going forward. And right now it's a little disjointed, and I think it's going to be for the rest of the season as well.
Yeah.
Have you guys noticed this? And I brought this up in the past, and others have agreed and disagreed with me. When Lowry turned vegan, his game went south.
I never thought about that.
I didn't know he'd gone vegan, actually.
Yeah. He got in this big campaign. I love animals. I'm never going to eat an animal again. I'm like, bro, there goes our team. Stake up, bro. You're in Chicago. Come on.
Chicago cut, baby.
Dude.
Didn't Chris Paul go vegan too? And he's in later in his career, I think.
After he's an all-star. You can do that after you're not already an all-star. You got to work your way up the food chain, you know?
So I do want to say to Bulls fans, if you're frightened about tonight, and Skokin said, hey, I expect us to be down a little bit, but maybe not down 40 or like high 30s. They made it respectable at the end. They got it down to 9 in the waning minutes of the 4th. So I saw some fight there, but I really think, as Laro said, give it a little time. Hopefully not weeks, because the schedule coming up the next couple of weeks is brutal.
Yep. And
you really don't want to be spending all your time losing to those teams, because you might be out of the playoff race real quick if you go like 2 for 7 or something like that. So we'll see. But let's transition now to talk about the new additions and how they can really affect the game. We talked a little bit about Vuce and how he can be used, but I know, Laro, you've got some film that we want to show here to kind of give the viewers a little bit of a visual of what can happen with Vuce on the court with the Chicago Bulls.
Definitely. So, I mean, it's going to be fun, guys. I mean, it's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun.
All right, so we could roll it here.
This is from tonight.
Oh yeah. So this is, this is something that teams are always going to have in the back of their mind when you come in and see the Bulls now. You didn't really have that. You didn't really have to think about that until after this trade. And that's Vuce can absolutely do damage on the block. and if you don't send help, he will absolutely dominate that spot on the floor. And I mean, Jakob Poeltl isn't any weak defender. I mean, he's a pretty good defender. So that's something that this team is going to have to get used to, is dumping that ball in there. And as bad as this sounds, I feel like these guys that are NBA players, other than like Zach and Thad, need to work on post entry passes. I mean, like, I don't understand like why it's so hard to get the ball into the big. But how do you guys feel about that though, in terms of like, you know, having a big like Vuce in that area?
Well, yeah, go for it.
Well, okay. So obviously Vuce is going to have to embarrass Felicio in practice a few times for the rest of the Bulls to say, oh, I guess there is somebody that can post Felicio up in practice finally. From what I gather, he's a monster in practice, but just a marshmallow in the game. But I'll tell you, I think it's not just his post-up ability, but his passing ability outside of that. So he can kick it back out immediately, and you know, at the split second of a double team, or another guy can cheat over and run to the rim. So there's a lot that can be done with a guy like Vuce. I don't know. We didn't really get to see, again, you know, very quality passes inside. So I think that they're going to have to be running some drills for the next few days.
Also, too, I feel something that a little bit like when I watch this, when I watch these games, like sometimes because I'm getting ready to coach actually in next month, is coming up. So I'm training my brain to watch certain things. And Kobe is so frustrating. And I'm pretty sure you guys can also say that too. But when he's playing point guard, when he has to handle the ball, it's frustrating because
tough,
it takes so long for him to get into the offense for some reason. I don't know what it is, but Vuce got a great post touch, and he got it like 5 seconds. And it's like, we got to find a way to if Kobe's going to be out there, we got to do something and to be able to get into our offense a lot more smoother and a lot more faster.
Yeah, I got 2 comments on it. Number one is, if Kirk Goldsberry, he always puts out these like shot charts. He put one out for Vuce, and the block on each side of the basket were red hot, and then the above the break 3, that's where Vuce is really, really good. And so, Laro, as you mentioned, that little short clip we saw tonight was his first basket of the night.
Yeah,
that block on the left and the right side, he's really, really good at that. And we haven't had a player on the team that is really proficient at that specific shot on the block at all. And then secondly, kind of going with that, before Wendell got traded, the last 10 or so games when he was being more aggressive and demanding the ball in the post, Kobe missed him like several times a game. It just wasn't even seeing him, even when Wendell was there and asking for the ball. And it's been, you know, Kobe's learning. We know there's the ups and downs of the point guard spot, but he's just missing. He's missing the big, even when they're in that spot. And if he's going to do that with Vuce, I think that's got to change really quickly, because you're missing so many opportunities for easy offense if Kobe's dribbling the ball on the perimeter instead of trying to get it into the post. Because as Marcus said, he can hit it on the block, or he's a great passer, and he's going to pass to cutters, to open shooters. Zach's going to be above the break on a 3, or Lowry. I mean, there's so many possibilities, and that's going to be a better source of offense than anything Kobe's going to be able to do, unless he's like smoking hot from 3.
And here's a testament to Vuce and how unique this is in the Bulls situation. I cannot think of a center in Bulls history going back a couple decades that had that ability to dominate both sides of the basket like that. Can you guys recall any Bulls center? Joakim Noah didn't do that.
No, none while I was alive. I know that much. I mean, maybe you could say Powell. Maybe I don't know, but I don't know.
Come on,
Powell had more skill, but not anywhere. Yeah, not anywhere.
I'm saying in terms of like.
I know you're not.
Yeah, but both sides of the basket. No. Like that's pretty unbelievable, you know. Yeah,
usually you've got, you know, you're strong. If you're right-handed or left-handed, you're good at one or the other. But Vuce is red hot on both sides. Like, yeah, he's going to be really quality there.
Yeah, no, we're lucky guys.
Yeah. So what did you guys get a good look at Aminu at all? Did you? I mean. Okay. There's our sampling right there. Audience of 2.
For me,
I didn't have high expectations.
Okay, same.
Yeah.
I didn't have high expectations. He's a body,
played
man.
700 games, man.
He's a body. He's a guy, hey, if we get in the playoffs, he's a guy you could throw out there every now and then but I don't know. I would rather see TBJ more. I would rather see the amount of minutes Aminu and Denzel played somehow find a way to get TBJ to play those minutes or at least some of those minutes. So
yeah, and it was mentioned, I think, earlier in the comments that the lineup that you really want to see ultimately, like the 10 players you want to see on the court and in those combinations, the stars you got to be Sato, Zach, and then Pat, Thad, and Vuce, right? That's your starting 5. I think you got to move Lowry to the bench, and the bench should be Kobe, Temple, TBJ, Lowry, and Daniel Tice. That's your 10. We shouldn't see Arch minutes. You shouldn't see Denzel minutes. You shouldn't see Felicio on the court. And even Aminu, I think he can provide some wing defense, but he's never been a great offensive player ever. And I know he's slowed down a lot in the last couple of years. And then you saw with Javonte Green at the 2, he kind of plays that 2-3.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's also kind of more spot minutes rather than a solid rotation. Now Denzel's held it down. I know people like to to clown on him because he takes some funny shots like once a game at least.
Mm-hmm.
But he's been serviceable. But there's no reason at this point that you should be giving him minutes over Troy Brown Jr. I think or Garrett Temple, especially if they want to win in the playoffs or get to the playoffs. I just don't think that's gonna.
They haven't even had a practice yet. They barely even know each other's names right now.
Yeah.
No.
These rotations are not going to be key rotations. I think.
Hear me out, fellas. Okay.
This
is how I feel. This is what I would like to see. Now I may get a little backlash.
All right, man. Let it out. Don't sugarcoat it. Let's hear it.
For me, I would like to see Sato, Zach, TBJ, Pat, and Vuce. Because the reason why I say
that's gonna be next year. That's gonna be next year.
Reason why I say that is I like Pat's ability. Like Pat's on-ball defense right now, it's good, and I feel like it's gonna get to another level in the future when he starts to learn these players and things like that. But what he is really good at right now is help side defense. That is he's got that down to a science. Like it's his. He'll pin it on the glass and we're going on the other way. So I would love to see that more often. Offensively, reason why I like that lineup is because there's so many things you can do with that lineup. TBJ can handle the ball, Sato can handle the ball, Zach can handle the ball, Vuce can handle the ball, PJ can handle the ball. It's a bunch of ball handlers, and I like Thad coming off the bench with Lowry because I know Billy has mentioned in the past games and weeks that he wants to manage his minutes. So I believe him anchoring Lowry, Tice, Kobe, and whoever you want to throw out there, I still think that could be it's a great group right there. But in terms of
try it.
Exactly. I would like to see it try it out, just to see how it looks. Because TBJ showed some good stuff tonight as well. I mean,
I know you got some more stuff on Vuce though. I know you've got some more clips on Vuce before we get. I know I'm excited about Bulls legend Troy Brown Jr., but we gotta do some more. Nikola Vučević, who actually is a legend already. So
no, these clips I kind of put together. These are just I know like man, these are okay. The reason why I did this is we don't have that many games with him yet. We only played one. So I wanted to show kind of like what his post passing is all about and what else he brings, kind of what Marcus you brought to attention. And I mean the dude, he just has this great sense of reading where help is coming from and just really processing the floor pretty fast for a big. I mean, to be able to see that so quickly, seeing Joe Johnson turn his head and just whipping that ball quickly like that's just stuff that, I mean, we see Thad do it, but we don't have much of that. We don't have a lot of that. Anybody on the floor that processes like that, you know.
Oh, that pass.
That was wicked.
Yeah, these are just great examples of what he brings, man. He needs to touch the ball. I want him to touch the ball every time down the floor.
That was all
he needs to.
That was all wrist.
Yeah, so for all you listeners, Vuce is in the post. He spins like he's going to go for a layup. He's halfway into his layup, and he passes it out to an above the break 3 where Aaron Gordon knocks the shot down.
Yes.
Amazing pass.
And then you got him right here in the middle of the floor against Brook and Bogdan Bogdanović. I believe that's Bogdanović that was for the Nets. He came over to help out, and he swung it to the corner. I don't remember if that was Caron Butler, but this is kind of old. This is Tobias Harris, actually. This is kind of old tape here, but it's just to show examples of what he can bring. Because this doesn't leave. So these are just great examples, and I'm pretty sure everybody in the comments that are viewing this right now can really get a good sense.
Now, if you notice, in almost all of those, Vuce is getting doubled.
Oh yeah,
when he kicks that out. So that's what we have to look forward to, big time. Salim in the chat. What's up, Salim?
Yeah, it just like what the guys have to get used to is they have to get used to like, okay, offense is hard right now. We're trying to run our double drag and pop and slip. Sometimes a team just has a beat on you, and you got to find a way to get easy baskets. You have that guy. We have to learn how to ride him. We have to learn how to get that ball into him and just work off of him. We just have to. We have to figure out a way for guys to get comfortable. Kobe, we know you can score. We know that's what you like to do. But brother, you got Vuce on the floor with you, so you got to find him.
Yeah, sometimes you got to let the guitar solo plays, play.
Yeah,
you got to tune down for a little bit, let him play.
We always talk about how Zach has never had a great teammate, and that's he's never had someone that's really been as good as he is. He's never even had a top 100 teammate. I think.
What about Cat?
I correct myself. Well, on Chicago, he was injured and he was real young. But on Chicago, his best ranked teammate was Otto Porter. I think he was 97th ranked in ESPN ratings. Now you got a guy with like Vuce, but Vuce is also in the same situation. He's never had a teammate like Zach. I mean, he's running pick and roll, pick and pops with Evan Fournier and and the guys on the Magic. Imagine him with Zach LaVine. Just the gravity that Zach has is incredible. And so, as you mentioned, Marcus, in those clips we just showed, Vuce is getting double in the post all the time. And if you've got guys like Zach LaVine, Kobe White, Lauri Markkanen on the perimeter shooting threes, or Zach being able to just take it to the hole, Pat Williams take it to the hole, doing this cuts, I mean, the offense is going to come easier and easier. And I think we're going to see that the more familiar they get with each other. I think we'll really see it next year, especially. They're really going to shine.
After Lowry leaves, yes.
Sorry, Dan.
I like nicknames. I had a nickname for Lowry and Wendell Carter Jr., so I'm sorry Wendell Carter's gone now, because affectionately to myself and the audience that was doing the live stream on the Windy City Breeze, we named them the Sharman brothers because they were so soft.
Oh,
here we go.
Here we go.
Hey, if the shoe fits, man.
Oh man,
come on.
Laro and I are some Wendell Carter defenders here, but I know the parent is not.
Well,
worked.
At least you are, and he's not. But that's okay.
Hey, here we go.
Not a very good defender.
Let the man rest in peace. Let the man rest in peace.
In Orlando, in the sun and hot.
I feel so bad.
Salim, man, what's this, brother? But no,
that's right. He's right.
Like this is how I feel about the Wendell Carter Jr. thing. It's like he needs, like we talked about this. There are certain players that need help, that need a point guard. They need it. They need guys that can hit them in their spots when they're ready. And then defensively, I mean, like he needs help on that end too. You want to play drop coverage. You can't expect him to
the thing that bugs me about it, and I just got to do a 30-second rant about it.
Do your thing, brother.
The thing about what bugs me about the fans' reaction to Wendell Carter Jr. is they've scapegoated him all year for the defense. He's a really good pick and roll defender. He's really good. There's 31 big defenders, like bigs, that are constantly in pick and roll. So there's I can't remember what the minutes threshold is, but they spend a certain amount of time every game in pick and roll. Out of those 31, he has the 7th least amount of points against him. Like he lets the 7th least amount of points.
I can counter that. Because they don't need to pick and roll, because they can just throw it right in and dunk it right on them. They don't need to worry about it.
When does that happen? How often does that happen?
Oh, well, okay. But it has happened. But
the problem is, but here's the thing: is Wendell Carter Jr. can't do it by himself. He's not, as Laro said, he's not a player who can do it by himself. He was really good. He was 94th percentile in interior defense when Chris Dunn was on the perimeter. But Kobe White and Zach LaVine are okay. Zach LaVine's gotten better as a defender. Kobe White this year is one of the worst defenders in the entire NBA. He's like second percentile as a defender. So they walk right into the paint, and then they got drop coverage. So you got a guard who's good at threes or good at a little push shot floater. It's over. I mean, there's nothing you can do about that. So the problem is, now that Wendell Carter's gone, I'm really excited to see who they blame next, because it wasn't Wendell Carter's fault. And it's going to be someone else's fault. So who's going to be the scapegoat for the rest of the season?
We saw tonight. I mean, it's the same thing. Vučević deep cover, deep drop, and I mean, this is why I also want to see TBJ on the floor as well a lot more. He's a really good point of attack defender, and if you're going to get screened, you're not going to fight over that screen. It's pull up shooting practice, and People want to, hey, Vuč, or they didn't even say Vuč. I didn't see anything on Twitter about Vuč not stepping up. But when Wendell was in drop, it was, oh my God, Wendell, what are you doing? You're letting him shoot wide open jump shot. It's like, bro, that's the point. That's the point. His job is to protect the basket, and it's on the point of attack defender to find a way to get around that screen. Find a way, bro.
Oh man.
But it goes both ways, man. You got to have offense too, and they didn't respect his offense at all.
That's true.
Now that is a great point. Now, Marcus, that is a great point. I won't fight you.
He was not aggressive enough consistently for them to respect it. So,
which means they could double Zach and render him ineffective in a lot of plays.
And that's the growth we saw from Zach this year. I think is really impressive, because Zach, when he is doubled or when he's trapped above the break, he has one of the best conversion rates. He has, like, his points per possession, I think, is 1.3 or 1.4 points per possession when he gets trapped, which is insane efficiency for what he's doing. So I think a lot of it has to do with Thad being the release valve. When he gets doubled, he can pass off of Thad, and Thad can make great decisions with it. Now he's got Thad and Vuč, and then Vuč commands his own gravity and his own double teams. I think it's going to make the offensive load a lot easier on Zach. So, Vuč, we got anything more on Vuč, Laro?
Yes.
For today? All right. Yes. Hit us with it.
So another aspect of what he brings to us is just the pick and pop game. I mean, it's just rinse, recycle. Like, you could, whatever you want to say, man. If we could just find a way, like I said, to get him touches every single time down the floor, good things will happen.
Oh my gosh.
Good things will happen.
Three defenders.
I mean, in the first clip for the audio listeners, I mean, we have a pick and pop with Kobe. Kobe comes off a screen from Vucevic, and it's, he steps out to the top of the key and knocks it down, and I believe he leads the league from top of the key.
Yeah, that's his spot. That little left above the break. It's
perfect. In the second clip, we have Vuč on the left block. And he just tortures his defender. If you want to switch, if you want to switch and put a small on Vuč, he's going to make you pay every single time. So these are things that we aren't used to. We aren't used to having guys like this, that see a switch and like, oh, okay, well, it's time to go get a bucket, and it's so great to see these things, and it, like we said, it wasn't fun tonight, but we did see bright spots. So that was fun.
It was fun. I thought it was still fun to see the new guys. You got to get a breakdown. You got to get an evaluation as to what's happening.
Yeah, it's a lot of people don't think that way. A lot of people don't think that way. It's fire off takes. We
could go back and watch Jim Boylan games if y'all want to.
Let's do a wheel.
Watch Fred Hoiberg and Jimmy Butler
honestly,
try and fight.
I really worry. I have this is complete tinfoil hat theory, but I just the lack of development during the Jim Boylan era, I really think did a number on these young guys. I really think that they were, not only did they not develop, but I think it was detrimental to their mentality. I mean, you look at Kobe, and Lowry and Wendell. I don't know. I just feel like they were just beaten
It's like
down.
they had COVID before COVID. It's like they had a year of isolation.
They had
boyvid.
like botulism. I'm trying to make a joke with botulism and boylanism. They suffered boylanism for too long. So
they had boyvid.
Yeah, I mean, the it's so funny, man, because like the Lowry, there were golly, I don't want to seem like I'm just beating on Lowry all the time. I'm not. Like, I really think he's talented.
He sucks.
He's talented, but he's just, but like people are like, oh man,
he's
like,
not. He is supposed to be talented.
Yes.
Like Vuce is what we thought Lowry was gonna be.
Yeah,
this is what I said.
He bulked up, and then it's like, "Ow, my shoulder! I'm out! Yeah. Oh, my elbow!"
It's
like, dude,
it's
by the way, before we stop the stomping on Wendell Carter Jr., I did want to bring up one other thing that I thought was funny, which was everybody was considering it like he was like the next Al Horford, and I remember the first time that he went up against Al Horford, and Al Horford was just like, "Rookie. Please, please."
What you'd expect, I think.
And after that game, I don't think Wendell Carter ever played the same again.
Wow. Well, back to my point about Lowry.
Sorry. I had to. I had so much hate I needed to get out, and I won't have a chance. How do you think I feel? I have Daniel Gafford as my intro of my podcast, and I got to burn that now. So
you were a DG guy?
Yeah.
Oh wow, interesting.
Just for a squab. I mean, a second round pick. Come on.
No, he was great.
Yeah,
for what it was. Yeah.
And
I wish him the best. I think he'll be fun in Washington.
He was.
He had a heck of a game today.
Man.
Yeah. I mean,
Russell Westbrook playing with him. Come on, he's gonna be lobbing it everywhere.
Yeah, that's true. Just like what we, I would like to see Wendell with a point guard like that. But anyway, so the thing is, like the Lowry thing is like everybody jumped on. Oh, what Lowry's having, but it's like, dude, like everyone was saying, oh, Boylan was doing this and this, but like honestly, he's taking the same shots that he was then. That he's just knocking them down now. There's nothing. He didn't add anything else to his game. Doesn't have a go-to move in the post. He's just the same guy. He's been. Yeah. He's just in the weight room too much. That's why I say when I saw him like playing with like Finland and. I'm like, dude, like that's cool and all, but like, are you working on your game in the gym? Like, are you like for instance, like I have a couple cousins that played in the NBA. I mean, I'm sorry, one that played in the NBA and others that tried, but like they didn't believe.
Hook it up, Laro.
They didn't believe like working on your craft, getting in the lab. Like some like Lowry is just. I feel like he needs to really just get in the gym and just grind it. Don't worry about playing for your national team. Just work on your game. Add to your game.
When you're eating nothing but plants, dude, you can't hang in the gym that much.
Oh man, you guys are crazy.
I'm sorry.
We'll do a Lowry vegan section on an upcoming podcast of yours.
Yeah, man.
Okay. You could deep dive into your theory.
I'll go a month vegan and try and do workouts.
Yeah, it's like Super Size Me.
Yeah, what would you call
like the
that?
Super Size Me documentary? You should do, a vegan one for a month and see how.
What would you call it? We've got the meats, right? We'll steal Arby's.
The meats?
Steal Arby's slogan.
Here we go. All right, Lara.
we got a clip, another clip on Vuce. Like, here's the thing, man. Like, I know. We want to talk about TBJ and these guys.
I do want to talk about TBJ.
Yeah. But this is one, just this one here, right? So we have a clip here where I just wanted to show people that are in the comments, people that are watching. Look at where Vuce is right now. Okay. There's nothing different than what Wendell was doing, right? But here's the thing. The same, like what happened was when stuff happened like this, where a guy comes off the screen and he gets the bucket, guys were blaming Wendell every single time when stuff like that would happen. They would blame Wendell, but it's like.
But look at Satoransky in this play.
Yeah, he's
look
flailing.
At how Satoransky navigates the screen, is right on the right hip of his man as he's coming into the paint, so that he can't take that little floater. So now Vuce is able to defend the paint better. But you mentioned the positioning where he's right at the nail.
Yes.
Right, Vuce is right at the nail on that pick and roll defense. That's the drop defense. I guarantee you will never hear Stacey King a single time this year complain about Vuce's positioning on that play. Guarantee it. But all he did all year long was complain that Wendell was not stepping up in the coverage, which is the last thing, the worst possible thing you could do in the drop coverage is to take a step toward the ball handler who's diving at the rim. But Vuce will be playing a lot of drop coverage. If you like the drop coverage, congratulations. You're gonna like what Vuce is doing. If you don't like drop coverage, sorry about it. That's all Vuce is really going to be able to do with his foot speed, I think, at this point.
Yeah, I mean, there were some clips that I had that for some reason the old laptop wouldn't allow to load up. I'll have to bring them back up maybe next week. There were some times that Orlando did bring him up towards the screen, and there were times where he got beat, but there were also some times where he did a pretty good job. There was a time when they were playing the Boston, and Tice was popping, and Tice I think hit 2 threes from the top of the key. So Steve Clifford, I believe, made an adjustment and had Vuce pop up, and he did a pretty good job of staying with Jason Tatum, moving his feet, staying low, being wide. That's one thing too that people don't notice. Like Vuce, whenever a person's coming off the screen, he's low and he's wide. He's got his arms out. I love seeing that stuff. That stuff. It's hard to make passes that way when a guy is that wide and that low. You can't do a pocket pass that easy. You're staying low and taking up a lot of space. That stuff matters. You got your hand low for the pocket pass, and your hands up high, ready for a lob. So it's the little stuff like that just it's just really fun, man. He's fundamentally sound. Like you look at what he does, he's just fundamental. He may not be the greatest defender, but like the things that he does show, it's still fundamentally sound. Like I like the guy. His feet are always under him. He moves his feet pretty well. He's pretty nimble. I mean, he uses his body well. So it's fun to watch him, man.
Can we finally put to rest this whole garbage about we have one of the youngest teams in the league? Like that's nothing to brag about. Like, because they're just saying we're the most inexperienced you can find out there, right? I mean,
so true. Imagine if you're a company you hired to do something for you had that as their slogan.
Yeah,
we have the least experience of anyone you could hire.
Oh my gosh, man! Like, so what would you guys like? I had a question. I was thinking about this during the game. What would you guys like to see more of, like in terms of like outside of Vuce, and outside of Vuce, let's like get away from Vuce, but like in terms of like offensive, like sets and things like that. Like what would you guys like to see more of? Like if there's something you see, like man, why don't we take advantage of that more? Like is there anything that you guys see?
We're gonna have pick and roll coming out our ears if we can get it right. Right. I mean, I think the next 2 weeks of practice needs to be just that. Like let's just run an hour of that.
Lowry's going to be jealous.
Hey, man, earn your way. Earn your way.
Yeah. No, you're exactly right. It's got to be Vuce and Zach pick and pop, pick and roll. You got to have it's been said before, but Vuce is has one of the highest rates of post-ups in the league. I think is Joel Embiid, I think, has a higher, but you got to use that because he's very, very good. It's a very efficient offensive play. You need to keep running that. And so that's going to be a big change. We haven't been doing that a lot. Billy Donovan's got a lot, the multi-ball handler system, lots of cuts, lots of moving, lots of actions, screening. I think that's still going to be good, but you can do that around Vuce, but Vuce can be your playmaker in the post and be such a threat that it's going to make those cuts more effective. I think that movement's going to be even more effective now because, if you got Wendell or Lowry in the post who weren't as good, weren't consistent with that, and Lowry especially was not a good passer and still is not a good passer, but you're not going to have that same kind of gravity. And so people can just say, okay, put my small forward to guard Lowry in the post and keep my better defenders.
As well.
There's no reason for them to really do anything different. So, yeah, I think it's going to be more post ups, you're going to see a lot more Vuce in the post, which is what you should be seeing. And you're going to see a lot of Vuce pick and pops where he's popping out to the above the break threes that you saw tonight.
Right.
The way they ran with Kobe. I think you're going to be doing a lot of that.
We have one more clip that I want to go over too. And this kind of goes along with what Marcus was saying in terms of like his passing out what he brings in terms of like applying more pressure, like attention, I should say. And if you like stop it, if you could roll it back just right there, if you could stop it. So for audio viewers, you got Vucevic, Vucevic, whatever. I'm sorry, Vuce. I'll just call him Vuce. I really want to learn how to say it the right way. But anyway, we'll go
Vucevic.
Vucevic.
Just think of those C's as CHs. Yeah,
Vucevic. Right, we got Vucevic.
Yeah.
In a dribble, a dribble handoff. Pat's coming off, and we got Zach on the left side of the floor, and you got Lowry on the left corner. Now, when Pat's coming off, usually there's going to be a guy there that's going to be able to help and recover. But if there is DeJounte Murray who's guarding Zach, and he can't really truly help as much as he wants to because that's Zach LaVine, who is doing a great job of kind of pushing up towards the top of the key because you're bringing DeJounte Murray with you. So it creates that open. Exactly. Mm-hmm. So it allows Pat to get a nice little lane to the rim. And that's just like just stuff that you can do now when you have two all-stars on the floor.
And if you play that back again, what you see is Vuce wide open at the top again.
Yes.
Yep. Because usually when they run this play, if they run a dribble handoff, Zach is in that position where he's guarding a lot of attention, getting a lot of attention. And so the other guys can sink in and be able to protect the basket a little bit better. But when you've got Zach dragging DeJounte Murray out, it's because he has so much gravity. And it gives, as you said, Marcus, Pat Williams might be the biggest beneficiary of this pairing because he's going to have a lot more driving lanes to the basket like we see here.
Yeah,
and because you look and you got Satoransky and Markkanen in the corners, who are both good 3-point shooters. This is a great, great offensive set.
Yeah, I mean you can't really help off at all. I mean if Keldon Johnson, who's guarding Lowry, if he steps over, it's just a toss to Lowry in the corner for a wide open three. There's just my gosh, guys, this is.
Yeah, fun. We're gonna see some Bulls basketball we're not used to seeing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Which is going to make it fun, for us, for Chris, and for us when we get on the show at night after the games and stuff. So,
yeah, I like being not depressed about the Bulls.
you can't tell. You can't tell from a lot of fans tonight, though. So it's it's crazy.
Fans are fans, right? People have their good and bad days. People want to overreact on stuff. I try not to put reactionary stuff on Twitter the night of games just because I feel like the next day I'll feel differently about it when I have time to calm down.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I think this show helps because it helps me be more objective and really break down the film instead of just being like, these guys suck and this is this. And,
It's I mean, that's the thing too, is like sometimes I have to remember is like not a lot of people are like a lot of our friends like us where we actually love to look at tape and look at what the process was to get to the result. And a lot of people don't like to do that. They don't want to.
They just see the guy getting dunked on.
I watched each game 3 times. Is that an addiction? I don't know. I play it back.
That I love hearing that. But no, man. I mean, that's why sometimes like I can find myself getting mad and want to mention something out on Twitter like calm down, everybody. But it's like, first of all, I'm not the Bulls gatekeeper, and second of all, it's like they don't care about what I care about, in terms of basketball and why that particular thing they're mad about happened, So
yeah,
that's why it's just been fun to do this with Chris, man. It's just it's like our way, our outlet to be able to just let out our frustrations or our happiness. It's been great, man. It's been great.
And you see all these different opinions, and you have to respect that there's a wide spectrum of ways that people enjoy basketball. And so for people that enjoy basketball more like Laro and I do, and Marcus, most people don't watch the game 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
That's a lot of time, first of all. But they're not looking for that. They see the results. They're looking at the box scores. They're looking at the highlight plays. That's a lot. Most people just have time for just that, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's been a great outlet, and it's nice to get these different perspectives on. So obviously, my opinion of some players is going to be different than yours, and our appreciation is going to be different. But that helps each other learn, right? I can learn something from you. You can learn something from me, and we can help each other's perspectives. And I think if there were more of that kind of attitude in a lot of other aspects of life, I think would be a lot better in some ways. But we're trying to do it for the Bulls, right? Unimportant thing in the scheme of things, but it's a great outlet for us. So
I'll admit it. I used to like Antonio Blakeney. Okay, fine. I'll get it out there. All right.
The man had irrational confidence, and it was, it's hard not to love that, right? I see it in
G
Denzel,
League.
right?
He was amazing.
He was. But you see it, and you see that kind of irrational confidence in a lot of NBA players, right? And that can be a strength, and it can also be a weakness. And also, overthinking the game can be a strength sometimes, and sometimes it can be a weakness. We saw that with Wendell. He's an overthinker about the game, right? Whereas you got guys like Zach, he just goes on feel, right? He's instinctual, and he moves on to the next play. He's just got that like confidence in himself that he'll just do it. He'll overcome it. And so you got these different perspectives, and you have to have, you've heard people say this, especially former players, you got to get a guy in there that's just, going to rough the locker room up a little bit. You got to get that guy as the enforcer, just the guy who's kind of mean in the locker room. So you need those mixes of personality where it's like, oh, this team's a little too nice.
Who's our guy now, you think?
I don't know if we have Thad. Thad is probably the closest one. Thad and Garrett have probably taken on that role. But, Jimmy Butler used to be that guy in the locker room that he'd call you out if something wasn't going right. So, there's that mix that we need. So I know we're still on Vooch, and it's already been an hour. So I'm wondering, Laro, do we got something for Troy Brown Jr. tonight? Do we have some time for him? Because I really like to see what he brought some cool stuff tonight.
So here's the deal, right? Is before we do get to that, Daniel Foy in the comments asked a pretty good question. I don't know if
about the defensive schemes.
Yeah, this I think that's a great question because there are certain things. There's things that we as the Bulls defensively, I think, still need to work on. But tonight with the Spurs, I felt like a lot of it wasn't. I think a lot of it was us getting cross-matched a lot. Like that's something.
Yeah, that's Pop. Your commenter is right.
Exactly.
We're going against a general, on the other side. He's gonna find some guys that know how to fight.
I think I don't know what you have to do because honestly, getting cross-matched like that, it's not just Pop. It happens. I mean, no disrespect to Pop, but I mean, like in terms of us the Bulls getting cross-matched, it happens so much. Like not just tonight. Like it happens a lot.
Patty Mills and Rudy Gay going off on us.
Oh no! I'm not. I'm not disputing that. I'm just saying, like in past games, the season, we have a problem with getting cross-matched, and I don't. No, I feel like I should really pay attention to that more so because like it is frustrating to me because it's almost like stuff that you learn at a younger age. I'm not trying to say like middle school or anything like that, but like you really are taught even when you first start playing high school, middle school, whatever. It's to get back. You get back, you find your man. It's just I just don't understand.
Well, if you think about it from just general defensive principles, right? The reason now switching has become a lot more popular, but the reason a lot of these schemes are developed is to avoid switching. Yes. And so what you're doing in transition, if you're getting cross-matched in transition, you're pre-switching. You're switching before the play is even developed, and you're putting yourself in a disadvantageous position right from the start of that play. Not only are you in transition, but you're not guarding the person that you want to be guarding. So you got Lowry guarding a guard, and you got a big man guard. It's not going to work. And so if you think about in the half-court defense, the principle is to not switch or to keep yourself in the best position possible, having the right people defending the right people. cross matching just blows it up before they can even start the defense, and so it just puts them in a position where they're going to get cooked all the time in transition defense, and we've seen that all year.
Yeah, very frustrating, very frustrating. But like some of the things that, I mean, me personally, I think that we could do is, I think we could play more zone. I really do, because I think I do find that teams get a little comfortable with our scheme that we run, and there's not much resistance. There's not much, like, you just like for instance, I mean, today, like, you had DeJounte Murray, Derek White, you had everybody just coming off that screen and just kind of having a nice field day. But in terms of TBJ, for some reason,
here we go, legend.
The tape is loading, but I wasn't able to get it in there in time. But I mean, what were
we
your
got some
thoughts?
highlights we can roll through. Some highlights we can roll through, so we can look at some stuff that he did tonight.
Yeah, perfect.
And also we got highlights from before, it looks like, as well. So, but tonight, what I liked about tonight is, as I mentioned, his facilitating I thought was really, really good. He and Kobe kind of had a little back and forth with some passing that led to some good open shots. But he came in and he knocked down the first three, and the shot looked really good. He just flicked the wrist, and the shot went in. He had 8 points, I think, and 8 points and 3 assists, I think, tonight in limited minutes. And he was a big reason why the Bulls are able to get back in the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
and that lineup that had him out there with I think it was Lowry and Vooch and Javonte Green, I want to say.
Yep, and Kobe. That lineup went on a pretty big run. I think it was 25-7 at one point to get back in the game, got it within 9. So he brought that energy. He looked like he knew what he was doing. He has good size, good instincts on defense. So I was impressed at what I saw as a first look on our team for the lack of practice and stuff that we had. What do you think, Marcus?
Yeah, it's same. I mean, you're just throwing a guy out there. So essentially this is street ball, right? Where a guy's just picking somebody else up off the bleachers, right? So I'm anxious to see what's going to happen. The guy's definitely got some talent. I mean, that's the one thing I think out of this whole trade scenario is that AK can sniff some talent, and he's like thinking in 3D, one move ahead of the other move. And I'm anxious to see how this whole thing gels, because obviously they know things that we don't in terms of gaps, in terms of what they foresee. I don't think Lowry's coming back, so obviously he's just kind of riding the seat until we can fill that. But I'm really impressed with the new guys overall. I mean, I think they're going to be really good, and the fact that we got him for almost nothing is even better.
Yeah. I mean, he's really young. He's still 21, right? I believe he's 21. So, yeah. What I like tonight too, I mean, just the fire he played with on defense. Like, you could tell he actually loves to play that side of the ball, and we don't have too many guys like that, So it's nice.
Not
to have
since
guys
Dunn.
like that. Yeah. I mean,
as I said, that perimeter defense I think has been our biggest weakness this year. Even the lack of point guard play aside, the fact that we have not had a even average perimeter defender on our team has been a big detriment. And I think, to Marcus's point, and if you look at the cap sheet this summer, I don't think Lowry can come back, because AK in his comments post-trade said we're okay at point guard right now, but we're going to look to address that in the offseason. And if you give that money to Lowry, then there's nothing left available. So I think you're gonna see that. And when you do, as you mentioned, you're gonna get your wish, moving Pat to the 4. I think you're gonna see that. Troy Brown Jr. may get some starting three minutes, or if they bring in a guy like Lonzo, maybe they can switch him up and put him at the 3. So yeah, the power forward spot, Skokin is looking like Pat and Thad next year, because Thad has a partially guaranteed deal, and I don't see why they would move him unless they're going to do some move to open up cap space for something else. But I mean,
I think as long as Zach's here, Thad's here. I think that.
I think they, as long as that's Magic Johnson out here, I think we should keep him.
I think Ryan Borja was saying that if they wanted to open up some more cap space to maybe go after Lonzo or another point guard, that they would have to maybe move one or both of him or
one
Sato.
or the other.
Yeah,
you'd have to move one or the other and renounce Lowry or do some sort of sign. I think they're going to end up doing a sign-in trade with Lowry where they send out Sato in that deal, something like that, and they'll bring in a point guard. Which I think is the right move long term. You have to put someone there, and Lonzo's a solid perimeter defender. So same with Malcolm Brogdon, Spencer Dinwiddie's to a lesser extent a pretty decent defender. I don't know. We'll see what he looks like after his second ACL injury and repair. So feel bad for that guy. We should never have waived him in the first place. Yeah. By the way, I was arguing that he was better than Michael Carter Williams. Michael Carter Williams.
Yeah, MCW.
I was like, he's basically MCW with the chance at being a better shooter, which is not a high bar. And I was like, and he's cheap. Why not? We didn't need to waive him in the first. We had the roster spot. Anyways, that's I'm thinking about the Garpax era again and getting sad.
Yeah, man.
Just some dumb stuff.
It's like recalling abuse at your therapist.
Just my favorite part was when they decided to do the rebuild. And they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna hit on some talent in the lottery, and they are holding a press conference during the second round of the draft, and they sell their second round pick for cash while holding the press conference. They're just like, oh hey, we didn't really feel like there was anything worthwhile in the second round, so we just sold the pick for cash in a rebuild.
The Jordan Bell revenge game was born.
And it wasn't even about Jordan Bell, right? It's just about the principle of
do we have any revenge games coming up? Are we gonna have the when's the Wendell Carter Jr. revenge game coming? When is the Gafford revenge game?
We played Orlando twice. We played Washington twice already. I'm not sure if we're gonna have them.
Playoffs. Yeah.
So listen, I think we've got some really good ideas for upcoming shows. Daniel said, I think we want to get into some different defensive schemes that we can explain. We can talk about zone and blitzing and some other schemes that we could possibly run. We'll try and get some more Troy Brown Jr. film next week. I know we ran out of time this week for that and as well. And we'll have some Daniel Tice footage as well, because he'll be in the game against the Golden State Warriors soon. So
I'm excited about him, man.
Yeah. Well, I know we're already here at an hour and 12 minutes. Not too bad. We're getting closer, but
Marcus, to talk about.
Yeah, it was great to have you.
Definitely,
even though you tried to slander my boy Wendell Carter Jr. I appreciate that.
Your former boy, yeah.
But we're here for the new legend, Troy Brown Jr.
We got
congratulations. You are now our son on the Bull Show.
We do have a matchup next month with Wendell.
Ooh.
The 14th of April.
I wish him the very best. He's
Let's
a good
see if he
kid.
can stay healthy for that long.
I hope so.
God!
I had to get it in.
They need to get a point guard on the team.
Sorry. One last one. I gotcha.
All right, Marcus. Well, send us off. Let us know. Let the listeners know where they can find you. You've got your podcast coming up on Monday, 2 days from now.
I do. So bullspodcast.com or youtube.com/bullspodcast is where to go. I got a lot of cool stuff coming up. I'm going to do some analysis segments and things like that. So it's going to be the same kind of fun that we've had. I've interviewed Hall of Famers and Hall of Fame radio guys and announcers and such. And we got more of that coming. I've actually got a couple of guests that are actual NBA agents that are going to be coming on and be talking about not only the draft process, but what happens during a trade. And not only from a back end perspective, but from a logistics perspective. Like, how do you move an entire guy's family? And we get to talk about all that stuff.
That's interesting. We just take that for granted, right? We're like, oh, he'll be on the plane and playing for your team the next day. But Vuce, he's been in Orlando for 9 years. Who's moving all his stuff? Is there a moving van? Who's handling that? Is his wife? We don't think about that. That'd be really interesting. So you guys should check out Marcus Couch on Twitter at Marcus Couch.
Yeah,
and
thank
as
you.
you mentioned, the Bulls podcast. So thanks so much for coming on. We really appreciate you.
Oh, it's my pleasure, man. I love the show. I love what you guys are doing, the analysis and the breakdowns and such. It's a different side of Bulls content that we don't typically get to see. So keep on doing it. It's great.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
All right, Laro. I wish we could just see your beautiful face one more time. But we'll have to suffice until next week.
Yeah, man. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that.
No worries. All right. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate all the comments once again. Appreciate Marcus coming on and Aldo for as always doing the behind the scenes work for us. So we'll see you guys next week. Enjoy Bulls basketball. New and exciting times for us, right?
Oh yeah.
New and exciting times. All right.
All right,
see you guys
go
later.
Bulls.
See you.